Were you worried that like the podcast just wasn't going to happen?
Yes, my first concern is like, I'm so worried about the podcast. My friend is over here killing herself, and really I'm worried about the podcast.
Hello. Oh my goodness. Hello.
No, it's been so long.
I know. How long has it been? Like 2 weeks?
Probably just 2 weeks, but it feels like a long time.
I know. Anytime that we skip a week of recording, I feel like it's been years.
Mm-hmm.
I can only imagine how our rabid fan base must feel.
Exactly.
No, but for real, when a podcast I like takes a break, I'm like personally offended.
I know. That's actually a reason why I like ones that do things like behind a paywall sometimes, because a lot of times they'll do that for a break. They'll be like, unreleased episode. I'm like, oh, good. I didn't miss it.
Oh, that reminds me. I'm thinking we should start a Patreon account because Substack isn't really like working.
Okay. I think that's fine. It's as long as it goes with our no ad rule.
Well, yeah,
I'm okay with making a little money. I won't ask for it, but
I hope you're okay making a little money. No, but Substack, I discovered, takes a cut of the money that y'all give to us when you become a paid subscriber.
Doesn't Patreon? I mean, I didn't think it was much, but I thought they did
too. Oh, there's some controversy with Patreon too.
Mm-hmm.
No one teaches you these things when you decide to start a podcast on a whim. Oh no, my vape. That's a sign we should change the topic. This is our first episode of 2025.
Yes.
And I don't have a tagline. I wish that I had thought of one.
Maybe I'll wing it.
All right. I believe in you, Lauren. You're a performer now.
Okay. Hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
And welcome to Pickles.
And welcome to Pickles. I'm just thinking of the last time, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago when you were starting. And
when we just like kept messing up and falling apart.
I was thinking, oh, she wants to do a different take. Okay. And so then we kept just saying, hello, friends. Hello, friends. Hello, friends.
Hello, friends. And welcome to Pickles and Vodka, the mental health podcast where, good God, let's hope 2025 is better than 2024.
I'm Christina, and I'm a realist. I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, I am Lauren, and I'm not an optimist, but when one year really sucks, you're like, maybe it could get marginally better. It's not going to like immediately be better.
Well, you know what? It's funny. I'm just going to jump right into this because today is kind of a special episode. We're breaking up our normal schedule to talk about, I guess, New Year's shit. Lauren doesn't really know what I'm talking about. I was just going to say,
I don't know any of this because Christina just gave me a very vague idea of just like, I have a plan. It's going to be New Year's-ish, but not really.
Yeah, New Year's-ish, but not really. So I just got back from Richmond where I was staying a single night as kind of a mini writing retreat for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't go exactly as planned.
Okay.
I was kind of nervous leading up to it, like night by myself, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I am going to be tempted to use behaviors, and it kind of ended up being a self-fulfilling prophecy, but also it wasn't as bad as it could have been, and I wrote about it.
Okay. I feel like that's kind of a best case scenario because I wouldn't expect you to just be like, I went and everything was lovely and I was not tempted at all.
Well, what I did was examine like my expectations. I thought about our episode with Christopher Robin where he talks about how expectations are basically the enemy.
Yeah.
I forget how he said it exactly. But like I had built up this trip in my head as like, I'm going to have this magical night to myself and I'm going to spread my notebooks all around me and just stay up till 2 a.m. writing and it'll be great. And it wasn't like that.
I get it though. Like when you're excited about something like that and kind of hopefully almost like play this little movie in your head of like, this is how it's going to go. It's just kind of like that never happens in life.
Well, yeah. And what ended up happening was I got a little bit of writing done the first night. I stayed up till 2 a.m. like eating and watching Lost.
Mm-hmm.
And then I woke up the next morning, I checked out and I went to a park and I wrote in the park for like an hour.
Uh-huh.
It was so crazy because Well, before I went on this trip, I watched our New Year's episode from last year. It was episode 147, which was kind of our 2023 wrap-up video.
Yeah.
It's not a good episode.
But we weren't, I don't know, in good spots then.
Well, no, I was pre-breakdown and you were post-treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that is one of 2 videos we ever put out of our faces.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always hated the way I look in it, but now, a year later, I'm like, man, I look so done.
I can see that. I mean, I didn't watch it recently, but I mean, I just remember like some screenshots and stuff. And yeah, that sounds accurate.
It's hard to watch. It's hard to listen to. But I do want at some point in this episode to kind of do that thing where we talk about what was going on then and like what has changed, because it's fucking insane.
Oh, so first of all, I have to point out, I don't know when I thought of this a couple days ago. I have been talking about this so much. Like, when's going to be episode 180? And then I'll have been on more episodes than I haven't. And it totally came and went. Isn't this like 183?
Wait, no, it was 190, right?
No, because my first episode was 90.
No,
I know, it's on me
God.
too. I was so excited about it beforehand, and then I was just like listening to the last one. I was like, wait, that's 182? Oh shit!
Wait a second. I really thought it was 190, and I was totally keeping track and planning something.
Well, that's a bummer that one of us was on the ball. I wasn't.
Well, I wasn't either, as it turns out. Anyway, more on that later in the episode. Before we go any further, I really want to talk about how our New Year's Eves went.
Okay.
Starting with you, Lauren.
Yes. So my band played a show on New Year's Eve. It was really fun. I do feel like I had more fun maybe at the first show. I know I talked about that after that happened. And I guess it makes sense. I didn't think of it, but like we're playing at a bar that also has music, but I mean, it's not like a wild party place or anything, because they even told us afterwards, they were like, you had a really good crowd for New Year's Eve. And I was just realized like, oh yeah, just because it's New Year's Eve, that might not be a place that gets extra busy. They might get less busy. But one of my coworkers that I knew was coming out, and then another one I did not know surprised me. She came with them, so that was really cool.
Wait, how do you feel about surprises like that?
Well, I put up the invite to all my coworkers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I let them all know that I was just like, if anyone's interested, but I only knew for sure, that like one and her husband were coming. So it was like when another and her husband came, I was like, oh, cool. More people than I thought.
So what did you wear?
Okay, I looked hot. So I was going to wear this bright red bustier top, and at the last second, I felt a little too self-conscious in that. So instead I wore like a silver tank top with like attached chains and things on it, because that made me feel less self-conscious.
Wait, I want to see.
I'll show you. I mean, I could send you pictures from the show. I didn't take any before, so it's far away. I don't know if you'll get the outfit.
I'm going to bug you and be like, hey, can you send me pictures from the show that I can post to Instagram? And then the Instagram will never see it.
Aw, that's true. And then also, I wasn't happy with any of my pants. So at the last second, I went out and bought a pair of like capri pants that were red and black and green, kind of like a Christmas plaid print.
Okay. Not classic.
Yeah, I was gonna say not like obnoxiously so. I mean, really, what I looked more like at the end was a 2000s kid from Hot Topic.
I was gonna say that's like a Hot Topic punk staple.
Yes.
Black and red plaid. Come on.
Especially because
Christmas can't have that.
Especially because it was so cold that I had originally planned to wear heels, and at the last second I was like, no, my feet are going to be out. I'm going to be cold. So I wore my knee-high lace-up black boots. And at that point, I was just like, I look like such a Hot Topic kid, and I kind of love it.
Aside from that, where are you at this week, Lauren? Wait, sorry, I'm just thinking I should talk about my New Year's, then we can do where you're at.
Oh,
okay.
After that, okay. Maybe. Yes. All right. Your New Year's then. No, that's cool. That makes sense. Plus, I don't want to talk so much all up front. It's your turn.
I feel like I got us off to a rough start by throwing us off of the outline.
Tell me about
I
your
don't
New Year's
overthink
Eve.
Anything. So my New Year's Eve ended up being pretty good. I didn't have any plans, and my family was like busy, and the friends that I would have celebrated with were going to be out of town, and I was just like, I'm going to have a quiet night to myself. I've done it before.
Yeah.
And then our mutual friend, Nikki, texted me to ask if I wanted to go to their place and watch Lord of the Rings. Nikki is the friend who drove me to New Jersey for Dawn's funeral last January.
Right.
And Dawn, for those who don't know, is a friend and former podcast guest that passed last year on New Year's Eve. And so I think all of us, like, it was really nice to be with people who knew her. So, like, we didn't have to go through that alone.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all, like, massive Lord of the Rings nerds. And so it was really fun. We got through the Two Towers. We're going to have to get together later and finish the trilogy.
Yes.
But yeah, it was really nice. It was me and Nikki and her girlfriend Marie, and then their roommate Jake, who blew a ram's horn at midnight.
Okay.
And there was a lovely spread of snacks. It was just, I kept thinking, like, it was a really happy, warm, fuzzy feeling, obviously, being with those people. But it was also kind of sad because, like, the reason I was with those people was because of Dawn, and, like, Dawn wasn't around.
Right.
And also, there's other things that happened on New Year's last year that I don't like to think about, which we'll get into later.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, mixed feelings overall. What about you? Where are you at this week?
I mean, just going off what you said, I did also want to say that was something that I think as it got closer crossed my mind, like knowing that it would be the anniversary of Dawn passing. And I was always very grateful that my band was playing the show because I was just like, I'm not going to think about it that night. I got so much else going on. So
Yeah.
I admit to being grateful for that. Not that I didn't, the next couple days think about it a lot.
Of course. I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah. So where I'm at, I had a week off from work, and, it sounds when you say that, like, I'm going to take off a week off from work and that's going to be, amazing. But I even kind of knew when I was like, yeah, but the reason I'm taking it off is I'm going to get in a car. I'm going to drive 11 hours to Michigan, and then I'm going to be around my family. And, and it's kind of harder when they're split up, but still in the same area. Cause then it's like, my dad wants to spend time with me. My mom wants to spend time with me. And even though my brother was with both of them, he was like, I want to go out and do something together and be, like on our own. And I was like, me too. But it's just kind of like, I got to go here and here and here.
I just pictured you as like a marionette being jerked in all directions.
Yeah, it kind of felt like that, especially at first, because I got a lot of those things out in the first couple days, and maybe the last couple days I just kind of stayed in place. But then I had to turn around and drive 11 hours back and then get ready for the show. So
holidays are so exhausting. I mean, it's nice that we have people to be with, I guess.
I guess. And I do really that's why I was totally on board. Like, I do really like just getting a chance to hang out one-on-one with my brother, especially since he's been married and has kids and everything. You don't get to as much.
I know. That's sweet. I also thought you were going to say, I also kind of like my family.
I mean, I kind of do. But yeah, at least this time, I can't think of any significant things, like my mom didn't ask me why I want to be ugly or anything like that. She did that.
Wait, why you want to be ugly?
She did that one year over Christmas because, she didn't like how I had cut and dyed my hair at that point. And she was just getting really angry that I seemed like I wasn't going to change it anytime soon, that I liked it. So that's what she does. Just out of frustration. She's just like, well, don't you want to be pretty? Like,
oh my God.
Thanks, Mom.
Wait, who else was there? Was she trying to impress someone?
No, this is just because she wanted me to do what she wanted. But again, this was 6 years ago. I don't want anyone to think that just happened.
Well, yeah, God knows our moms have done shitty things in the past.
But yeah, it still was a shitty thing.
So she didn't do that this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you said there was a development.
Yeah, I've been so excited to tell you this. This has made it even harder to have a week off on the podcast.
Oh my God.
Because it would have been, after we last recorded, but before we would have normally recorded again. He and I went out. We went out and we played pool for a while because we've both been finding we enjoy that, even though we both suck. And then we just went to a bar and grill sort of place, just let's grab a drink and some appetizers and things like that. And as we're talking, the topic of mental health came up quite a bit.
Oh my God.
But the thing that got me wanting to talk to you, so, we were, the topic of psychiatric meds came up, and, he'd mentioned before, having been on something, but it was just kind of yeah, but everyone in the world has anxiety and can't sleep, and people put you on it for that shit. That doesn't tell me anything. So when he kind of said, I've really experienced some stuff that I needed help with at a time. And then he's saying things, like the healthcare system and like health insurance is like so fucked up. It's like, especially for mental health. And just like, I don't think there should be such a stigma about it. Nobody will talk about it or anything like that. And that's where I'm just sitting here thinking God. Are you on the podcast?
Wait, do you think there's a chance he could have found you and like listened to that episode?
I don't think so, because actually after that, what I did do is I said, I'm not going to tell you what the name right now because I don't know that I want you to hear the episodes where I've mentioned you. I was like, but I actually co-host a mental health podcast.
Oh my God. 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 You told him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my fucking God. That's for you.
Thank you.
But that's so cool that like he's into that kind of stuff. That's like right down your alley.
Yeah. I mean, I've mentioned before, all those guys are older than me. So he's older than me. He's like 12 years older than me, is in his 50s, grew up in this area. So I'm just kind of like, okay, good old Missouri boy who's in his 50s is not usually going to have these kind of viewpoints.
No, seriously.
Yeah. I was just sitting there like, oh my God, I'm so amazed.
What follow-up questions did he have about the podcast?
Didn't really have a lot of questions, maybe because I still was kind of like cagey about it. So maybe he was just like respecting that. But he did tell me, he was just like, I'm really happy that you shared with me that you do that. It makes me know that you you understand a lot of this stuff too.
Oh my God.
And I didn't tell him anything about the eating disorder stuff. But
well, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, but I felt, I like walked away from that being like, okay, but having that conversation means if there comes a time I got to tell you, I feel comfortable that I could, and you won't just be like, that's weird, I don't know what to think, So it's like, it opened a door.
Future bassist, if you're listening to this.
I think he's currently a bassist.
I worded that very poorly. Bassist in the future.
Yes.
If you're listening to this, well,
first of all, congratulations. Lauren's given you the title.
Yeah, for Lauren, this is like third base.
Kind of.
Oh my God. Anyway, welcome to the shit show. I suppose I should say you're a lucky man. No, I mean it. I don't know what we were talking about now. Oh, I cut my hair off.
Yeah?
But I'm not going to show you until the end of the episode.
Oh, I get to see at the end. Yay.
I want your reaction. I haven't posted any pictures of it yet because I wanted you to see it live. So listeners, don't skip this episode.
Yeah.
That's my shameless ploy. Oh, man. We actually do have a lot of serious stuff to talk about today.
Okay. Hey, we just skipped right over where you at.
Oh, I thought I already said.
I mean, unless you're considering your New Year's update to be that.
Well, yeah. I mean, my New Year's update kind of bled into where you at, but I don't know. I feel relatively good. Even though my experience in Richmond wasn't what I thought it would be, it was still kind of transformative, or at least like illuminative.
That's good.
And also, I fucking love Richmond. I can't wait to live there. Like, I made up my mind that I'm going to do everything I can to move there this year because I just felt right at home. Like, there's hills, there's historic architecture everywhere. The housing is actually pretty cheap compared to here. And I don't know, I can just really see myself there. And it's not so far away from my family and my friends.
Right. And like, it gives you something to look forward to. And, just anything that's like seeing a future for yourself is so inspiring.
Yeah. I need a reason to live. I need a reason to become an adult. But yeah, I have been obviously thinking a lot about the year 2024 and just how I never really thought I would be on the other side of it.
Yeah, I can see that, especially in the beginning of it, like the first half.
Yeah, and speaking of expectations, I kind of went into 2024 with no expectations. That's one thing I said on that episode we did. And honestly, I'm kind of awestruck by everything that happened when I was just trying to survive.
Yeah.
Whereas now that I'm in a better spot, the pressure is kind of back to like do things that quote unquote matter and get to the next level of my life, like the next stage. And I have to remember, like, I'm still barely surviving. Like, just because I'm surviving better than I was last year doesn't mean I'm not, like, still surviving.
Right.
And I don't know. I've just been thinking a lot about everything that's happened, and it's kind of a blur. But yeah, overall, I think I grew a lot last year.
So you probably feel at the beginning of this year like I felt at the beginning of last year.
Yeah, talk about how you felt at the beginning of 2024.
When we did the episode last year, then I mean, a couple months, but I was still pretty fresh out of treatment. And, leading up to that time, I didn't go until May. The whole beginning of the year probably felt a lot like the beginning of your year this year. It was just like things were continually getting worse and being, my fifth time going in several years since the last time, I was just so adamant that I was just like, I'm not going to do this. Nothing's worked before. And so maybe this is just how I'm supposed to die.
Yeah, I've been there. It took you a long time just to, decide to go and then to go through all the hoops.
Yeah.
It took months and months. The majority of 2023, right?
Oh, I mean, it started in 2022. And I think seeing some things start to work out. And like you said, having a few things where I'm just kind of like, I don't feel great and I don't feel totally confident in my ability to continue in this life. But I can see some things where I'm like, I'm excited about something that's going to happen next week. So, yeah.
I think that's how I made it through this last year, honestly, just like giving myself little things to look forward to, kind of like tricking myself to stumble along month by month.
Yeah, that it's like, I can't imagine myself in the next 10 years right now, but, next Saturday, this seemed pretty cool that I'm going to do.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you want to know something crazy?
Yes.
Sorry,
I gave the audience a chance to answer first. I do too, guys.
Okay. Well, it's not really funny what I'm about to say.
No, but I know.
1 year ago on this day, I was drinking with the man that I used to live with, hating myself and wanting to die. And that's just so wild to think about. Like, of all the things I think about that have changed since then, that's the thing that hits me the hardest. Like, I have pictures he took of me in my office chair holding a glass of wine, and Fang is on my lap, and I just look so dead.
Ugh.
And yeah, I mean, I haven't really talked a lot about that time. It was a really dark time.
And you took a break from the podcast too. So
Well, yeah,
there really wasn't time to like go through like a play-by-play of, guys, I'm having a breakdown.
Well, yeah, 2024 started with us taking a months-long break from the podcast. And that was because, I had a breakdown. I started drinking again. I overdosed on Benadryl multiple times while drinking. I injured myself and thought I had to get stitches.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Blacked out. This is all in like January of last year, which is fucking crazy. January and early February. But yeah, that's what I was up to when I wasn't doing the podcast, just like destroying myself. And February was when I went to the psych ward and finally got on meds.
Yeah.
We didn't really talk much throughout that time.
No, I mean...
Were you worried that, like, the podcast just wasn't going to happen?
Yes, my first concern is, like, I'm so worried about the podcast. My friend is over here killing herself, and really I'm worried about the podcast.
You knew I would get through. I always get through.
I knew if you did that I was like, of course she's not going to stop podcasting. What I mean is that's why that would not be a concern at all in my head. It was more just like, what is it going to take for you to see what you're doing to yourself and that you need help?
Talk more about that. That sounds sus.
I mean, I can't now. I don't remember the exact timeline. Like, you were doing it, so you probably know more. I can't remember when you decided to like apply for disability and when you asked for money, which I know was like really hard for you.
Yeah, that was around a year ago.
And I knew you talked to your parents a couple times about like having to go back to treatment or something, or just needing help with funds to get your brain okay. It doesn't have to be treatment. It's like therapy, meds, anything, whatever helps.
Which, by the way, I ended up getting all those things without their money because Medicaid exists.
Well, yes.
But, I'm still proud of myself for asking.
Yeah. And that's where I think I felt, is I was just like, I don't know if it's going to have to be, like something huge and dramatic. Like they're going to have to just chuck you in a hospital and knock it out of you. Not knock it out of you.
They
That doesn't really
tried.
help. But, just at least whatever to interrupt the cycle abruptly, or if you're just going to have to like find small things to help yourself. But I was just like, dude, you got to do something.
Yeah. And, we've talked in the past before about how when we've cycled through as many of these breakdowns as we have, you grow a little every time. Like, I asked for help a lot sooner this time than I would have in the past.
Yeah, that's something. I don't know. I think I might have known you part of when you were drinking before, maybe towards the end. But I was very impressed because just like hearing you talk about it and knowing your history, is I was like, you really like got on that shit right away, at least in my eyes.
Well, it scared the shit out of me.
Well, yeah.
Like, alcohol is really, really dangerous for me. And I still struggle with, wanting to drink, like when I go to my parents' house, for instance, and see their bar. Like, I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't believe that was me.
Yeah, because I think that's actually what I was like most worried about then, is feeling like, having kind of seen or known your pattern before, I was afraid that you would just keep pushing it off and being like, I'm not ready for this. I don't have the energy for it right now. And basically like keep up the drinking and everything that you were at well past the middle of the year. So it's more like, it's not that I do not somewhat agree with you, or you're like, I'll pull out of it and everything like that. But I was just afraid, like in that time though, people misjudge. And once, you make a mistake and you've stopped breathing, you don't get to go back and redo it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I need people to tell me that sometimes because I really don't grasp the danger.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I do, I don't care. Or I say I don't care. Like, I don't know.
Or I feel like with the time thing, like you think that after you have a few times. I mean, I'm sure we talked about how long it took me to go back to treatment. I mean, I'm thinking like, I lived with this for so many years and it was really bad for like over a year. I can handle that much. But we've talked about this too. Like your bodies get less resilient.
Man, I feel so called out right now. I don't know. I feel like I mean we could keep talking about like how much I've grown and all this shit, but I feel like I'm still not in a great place and I'm tired of just talking about it and not changing anything.
That makes sense. But something else I jotted down to potentially talk about, and it kind of goes in with us sort of like not realizing things are bad right away or when things get to breakdown moment, is it's been coming to my mind. I have been off all meds for, I don't even know how long at this point, at least 6 months, probably more like 8 or 9. And I was just thinking like, should I consider trying some again? And the thought that popped up then is like, when I have before, and we've talked about most of them don't really help. I've had a few that help like a little bit. And I was like, but usually I'm in such a crisis moment at that point that I'm just like, yeah, there's like a couple things that help a tiny bit. And all they're doing is they are barely managing to keep me alive. So like thinking of it now when I'm in a medium spot was just like, oh, maybe it would help, just kind of like give that extra like push, like that extra lift. And I could like feel good? Question mark.
Well, that is huge growth because I remember we've had this conversation before where you said you wanted to do that, what you're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were basically saying, I only ever get on meds when I'm in a crisis, and lots of meds haven't worked for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's amazing and smart.
There has been a couple that have, but yeah, when I thought about it, it's like, okay, yeah, but I'm always at like the worst point of my life. So the fact that they help a little at that point means like, oh, good. It gives me like 2 fingers to cling onto a cliff.
See, that's the kind of New Year's resolution that I can get behind.
I can go with that.
Even though I know you didn't say it was a New Year's resolution.
No, because, if we talked about that, I was going to tell you how I don't make New Year's resolutions.
No, I know, but you're making a resolution.
But that's the point, because that's the reason I say I don't make resolutions.
To be in the new year.
Yes, is because I don't want to just like make up a thing like, I'm going to change this because it's New Year's. But yeah, like...
Well, not because it's New Year's, but it just happens to overlap.
Yeah, like you said, like a legit thing that I would like to do, and it happens to be in the new year.
Exactly. I love New Year's. I mean...
I do like it. I just don't like resolutions. Because I just still feel fresh and brand new and hopeful for like, 24 hours maybe if you're lucky.
Well, yeah, like this life for you, like this life of well, this full kind of life
Mm-hmm.
is very new to you still.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see yourself expanding it even more in the, months ahead, or?
Yeah, I think another good thing for me to try and focus on is I don't have a ton of friends here because it's hard to make adult friends, but I do have a handful. And I feel like in this past year, particularly, I look at it and I'm just kind of like, I feel like I didn't hang out. I didn't put as much effort into hanging out with those friends as much as I could. Like, there's a few here that I could see more. I could initiate, say, like, we haven't seen each other in a while. Let's go grab coffee or a drink or something.
Hell yeah. I think that's so, so important. I wish more people would like give the same amount of attention to their friends as they do their significant other,
Oh, me too.
or even they're just like a random date.
Yeah.
And I've been guilty of this too. When one of my siblings like starts dating someone new, they like become distant and I get super pissy. And then I'm like, wait, I've done this.
Yeah.
But, that's one thing that my sister Caroline was trying to get me to commit to this year is to start dating again.
I like that one as long as you go into it without like high expectations or anything like that. Just go into it as like, I'm going to see what this is like. It's been a while.
It has been a while, and it hasn't been at all since I came out. And I don't know. I feel like I don't know. In my head, I'm thinking I'm too fucked up. But when I say it out loud, it sounds stupid.
Well, because we feel that way in our heads, and then it's good to have a convenient excuse. But when we have conversations on here, we say things like we don't want people to say, like, I can't love you until you love yourself. And that's kind of that.
I know. But like, I don't know. Part of me is also worried that I don't need that kind of distraction right now.
Okay.
Because like I do tend to fall into long-term relationships. Like in the past, that's what I've done. And I don't know. I have so much at stake right now. I have so many goals. I can't afford to be distracted.
Yeah, I think that's why. And I knew as I was saying it, I'm like, easier said than done. That's why, when I said would love to see you like try dating just like with the most like no expectations, all I'm going to do is have one fun night, hopefully.
That's true. I mean, that's what people are telling me. Like, just look at it like you're having experience. But like, I guess I take people's feelings way too seriously.
Yeah, I mean, even when I've tried to do that, I know the same, like, and I will do things like ghost a person after a first date if I just wasn't feeling it, but I always feel super guilty and horrible.
Well, and it's so hard for me to be attracted to somebody unless I know them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really hard for me to like meet up with a stranger and do all the small talk and like, it is scary.
Yeah.
How did you do it?
Well,
because you went through a really long dry spell.
I was going to say, I know when I would try and do, like online dating and things like that, after a while of kind of being like that, then I made a rule for myself that I was just like, unless this person is just like totally offensive or just absolutely awful in some way, I'm going to commit to giving it 3 dates before I say no.
That's a good call.
Because I would do the same thing. I know. Be like, what? I wasn't immediately attracted to you and just wanted to run off and get married tonight? It's not going to work.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. I feel like awkward even talking about this.
Well, yeah, it is awkward. And the other thing I would say is because even now, I mean, it sounds like it would have worked out that way because, yes, I'm dating a guy in my band who I'd known for like 6 months before.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
But
I knew him already.
Yeah, but we didn't talk like a lot at band practice. I just knew like all the guys were capable of making me laugh, which is, a good start.
I thought you were going to say I just knew all the guys were capable of asking me out. Even though you've established that some of them are married.
Yeah, I was going to say no. Actually, none of the other ones are unless they want to cheat.
Sorry.
But yeah, so like, but even that, because I think of like when he did actually float the idea that I kind of knew was coming, I'd said like, I don't want you to ask me this yet. I want to stall because I don't know that I would be attracted to you like that. And then my friend Olivia was like, why not just give it a try? I was like, that's the whole reason.
Just give it a try. I don't know. I really do hope 2025 is better. It just feels hopeless a lot of times.
It does, but I'm trying to remind myself that like just focusing on all the reasons that it can go wrong is not going to help.
I know.
Like, I'm not a person that's like, I have hope. I never, like, that sounds too flowery and
I just
doopy
want to
for
shout
me.
out to the people who are also bummed out that like we've had an entire year of genocides and also Trump got elected and like it's been a really tough year, and I don't just want to like not mention it. I think it's fun to be like, these are all the things I want to do in the new year, but like as individuals we can only do so much. And we at some point like do have to accept that. And that doesn't, I think we talked about this on an episode, how that doesn't mean you're giving up.
Yeah.
You're just accepting your own limitations and focusing on like what you can realistically do. And for me, like that includes, like you were saying, building community around me.
That's good.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I mean, I guess that's also a goal of mine, is just to like invest more in my friendships, especially the local ones, and just keep finding stuff to look forward to.
Yeah. Well, what was it? The 1 week after my dietitian appointment, she said life-giving activities or something like that.
Life-giving distractions.
Yes.
Yeah. I need more life-giving distractions.
You do.
This podcast is a good one, I gotta say. I'm so proud of us that we didn't just like stop podcasting this last year.
There's been a couple times. I mean, there's been a few times we've had to take breaks. I'm impressed as a whole that we're still going.
Obviously, one of the best parts of having this podcast is like getting to know you guys and hearing what you think, and like getting voicemails is like a special kind of high.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so thank you for everyone who has been listening to us or like discovered us this year.
Hope to hear from more of you.
Yeah, if you've been a silent listener this whole time, this is your sign to hit us up with a comment.
Yeah.
If you want to support us and you have money to spare, you can become a paid subscriber on our Substack. But if you don't have any spare cash, we understand, because same.
Yeah, we've been there.
/ are there.
Right.
Follow us on Instagram at Pickles and Vodka Podcast. It really helps, especially when you like comment on our stuff. And that also means we get to hear from you. So win-win. And you can leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/picklesandvodka.
It's all on there.
It's all on there. It's all at the end. I know. We never ask people for things. We want reviews.
Yeah. Reviews make me happy. So do voicemails. It's only the third time we've said that.
I know. I'm going to cut like a third of it.
I know.
Oh, God. But yeah, I don't even know what this episode is or what has happened, but do you want to see my new hair?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I look like a totally different person.
I love it. That was not what I was expecting. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I haven't figured out how to style it yet. These little curls keep like popping up.
Oh yeah, but it looks so much fun to play with.
How would you describe it to the listeners?
Oh my God, I don't know, because it's like shaved in parts, but a little longer in parts. So I mean, it's short, but not like a pixie short or something like that.
It's like a mullet.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was gonna say. I'm like, it's kind of like a mullet, but not. It's really cool.
Thank you.
Yes.
So after this episode, we're going to try to get back to our normal schedule, starting with the poll episode we've been teasing for weeks now.
I thought it was a topic. Oh, shit. What poll are we on?
Well, so we have one poll open right now for y'all to answer, and it is, do you consider yourself a people pleaser?
Oh, yeah.
And how it has affected your mental health. We said we were going to do this like weeks ago and we never did, but that just means...
Yeah, I know we already have some answers, but we could get more.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of answers. So you have until Friday the 10th by noon Eastern Standard to submit your answer.
Yeah.
And the topic of today was just kind of like talking about how things have changed and if expectations are like entirely bad, I guess.
What if it's like, do you feel like you're better or worse off than this time last year? And what do you plan to do about it?
That's amazing. Yes, I really, really want to know. Help me feel less alone, please, everybody. All right, so we're going to leave now.
We're going to leave now. I don't know why that just
Well, I mean, we are.
We are.
But yeah, thanks for listening. We can't wait to talk to you guys more in 2025.
Yeah.
Bye for now.
Bye.
If you like what you heard, tell a friend about the podcast. You can direct them to picklesandvodka.substack.com, where you can find our entire back catalog and links to all our social media. We love hearing from our listeners, so send us a voice message at speakpipe.com/picklesandvodka or DM us at Pickles and Vodka Podcast on Instagram. My personal account is at XtinaJumper, and Lauren is at Lauren 3_AFH. We'll see you next week.